These brands are most likely familiar to everyone. In some way, shape, or form, most have come into contact or have used a product made by one of these brands. From Post-it notes and Band-Aids to makeup and face lotion, each are recognized as common in American households. Each of these brands is associated with using animals to test their products. Innocent animals like bunnies and dogs, dogs, are turned into lab subjects against their will so that people can use items such as Windex and mascara. The true horror of animal testing is oftentimes left unspoken or ignored in order to have some kind of peace of mind while using these products. Despite the cruelty of dripping chemicals in animals' eyes that eventually make them go blind, animals aren't even good testers to test safety for humans. Since animal testing is cruel and doesn't prove chemicals to be safe for human use, steps must be taken in order to stop animal testing, such as introducing an amendment that puts a stop on the sale of products that have been tested on animals. Once we realize the intense abuse these animals encounter on a daily basis just to inaccurately determine the safety of products for human use, we can move on to eliminate this issue from our society and adapt better means of testing. The inaccuracies are highlighted by Gail Norman, a doctor at the Department of the Anesthesiology and Pain Medicine at the University of Washington, who mentions that the anatomic, metabolic, and cellular differences between animals and people make animals very poor models for human beings. Animal testing is meant to measure the level of human toxicity in chemicals used in various products. However, the article says that animal testing isn't even valid when testing the toxicity of a substance to a human. This is proven true when looking at the 1950s sleeping pill thalidomide, which caused 10,000 babies to be born with severe deformities and was tested on animals prior to its commercial release. Along with the inaccuracy of animal testing, the suffering these animals go through is so common that the U.S. Department of Agriculture reported in January of 2020 that research facilities used over 300,000 animals in activities involving pain in just 1 year. Drastic measures need to be made in order to eliminate this issue. We must introduce an amendment that would stop the sale of products that have been tested on animals. This amendment would make it illegal for companies to sell their products if they test on animals, leaving the company with no other choice but to stop testing on animals. Once the amendment is put in place, alternate methods to animal testing would be used. Stephen Fuller from Miami Valley Laboratories says methods such as computer testing, cell tissue cultures, and other in vitro methods are available for use instead of animal testing. If an amendment is passed to eradicate the sale of products tested on animals, animal testing would soon diminish. Alternate methods would be used that more accurately test the toxicity of substances for human use. Animals would no longer have to suffer, and we could even feel better about using products knowing that they are safer and have not caused pain to innocent animals. However, some will still argue that animals don't have rights and that therefore it is acceptable to experiment on them. It is time to move on from this sick ideology. In a world where we are so technologically advanced, we should not have to resort to using our power as humans to harm innocent animals. Some will also argue that there is no adequate alternative to testing on a living whole body system. However, this is also inaccurate, as there are many in vitro and computer model methods that allow us to see the effects of a product on a whole body system. With no reason to continue using animals to test the products we use for toxicity to humans, we must look at ways to take action in order to stop animal testing. Sonali Dokhi and Diwali Shashikant from the School of Pharmacy at SRTM University developed a 3Rs plan to help stop animal testing. This plan stands for reducing animal testing, refining the animal facility, and replacing animal testing with alternatives. This plan would allow us to minimize animal testing and end it as a whole. In Europe, Laura Donnellan, who has studied animal law and teaches at the School of Law at the University of Limerick, talks about the amendment introduced to put a stop on the sale of products that have been tested on animals. The United States need to follow in the footsteps of Europe if we ever want to see the end of animals suffering in labs. Until then, we could take our own steps to minimize animal testing. We could take steps like boycotting brands that test on animals, or even joining activist groups that speak out against the issue of animal testing. If we can all take some steps to start the eradication process of animal testing, animals would not have to suffer anymore. Along with this, more accurate ways of testing would be used, resulting in safer products for the people. If an amendment is passed, this could all be reality. The next time you go shopping, remember those brands that torture animals as if they weren't ever alive to begin with, just so you could have clean windows.